The chairman of the Joint Chief of Staff is on the ground in the Korean Peninsula. General Joseph Dunford is meeting with military leaders in South Korea as Kim Jong-un doubles down. Let's bring in, Fox News military analyst General Jack Keane. Sir, thank you for joining us.
Good to be here, Elizabeth.
If I can, I want to play a quick soundbite. This is General McMaster this morning on ABC, and then I'll get your reaction.
It depends on the nature of the threat, right? And so this is why what Kim Jong-un is doing is very, very dangerous. Now, of course, any response that we have, we do in close cooperation with our allies in the region. We have been prepared. We have been prepared for any escalation on the Korean Peninsula since the armistice in 1953. So the difference between then and now is the danger is much greater.
The reason why I wanted to bring up that particular soundbite is also we heard from CIA Director Mike Pompeo, who basically said he wouldn't be surprised if we see another test. We saw 2 in July. We could see 1 in August. So what does the administration have to do right now? Because they don't want to use military action, but they may have to if they can't distinguish between a test and an actual potential dangerous missile.
Well, a couple of things that have happened that I think are very positive. First of all, the administration did change its rhetoric from previous administrations, and that policy obviously did not work because the North Koreans advanced their capabilities. Regardless if you agree with the exact language that the president used, the fact of the matter is that he has put military option on the table to strengthen what he considers his main effort, which is diplomatic. And that is starting to bear some fruit. I'm talking about the diplomatic action. That comprehensive vote in the UN, with China supporting it in particular, is very consequential. The second diplomatic success is China just this week said that if North Korea attacks the United States or its allies, they would not defend it. In other words, then the peninsula would be united under a capitalist government in South Korea because the United States would ensure the destruction of North Korea.
And I always go back to China, and I think I've asked you this before, is because there's not necessarily a clear solution without their involvement, whether it be sanctions or when we see this type of rhetoric from them, just because it's almost one and the same. I mean, their economies are almost dependent on each other. And they also don't want to see North Korea fail because then we would see, obviously, refugees coming over the border. That being said, can we trust China?
Well, our history with them in the past is no. But also this is getting to be a more serious situation for them in terms of their own national interest. They truly don't want war on the Korean Peninsula. They've been gaming us and enjoying the fact that North Korea pokes us in the eye every 6 months or every 18 months, and they enjoy the kind of tug-of-war that goes on as a result of it. But now the stakes are very high, and it's actually affecting them, and it's also affecting their credibility as a responsible leader. And I think they want to be a responsible leader, at least in that part of the world. So we'll see. I think what's happening now, and I'm delighted that Chairman Dunford in your introduction is going there, because I think he's going to have a conversation like this with his military counterparts. He's, look, guys, here's where we are. We're doing testing. We know they have nuclear capability. Eventually they're going to fix that on an ICBM that has re-entry capability. We may not be able to define exactly when that is. Therefore, we'll have a gray zone, and at some point, you're forcing me to defend the American people, because that's what the president has asked me to do, under all costs, defend the American people. You're forcing me to treat what could be a test as an actual attack on the United States, and I will have to take military action to defend the American people. He's going to say, don't put me in that box.
It's sort of uncanny to think that they would poke the United States, and I'm speaking of North Korea, because you would think they'd want nuclear weapons to preserve their regime. Why would they try to end their regime as they know it? I mean, it just seems counterproductive as we look at it, but we hope that they don't, right?
Oh. I actually think in the long run, China is the main effort here. They're the main player. They want stability on that peninsula. They know North Korea is provoking the instability, and we got to dial it back, and I think they will help us dial it back.
All right, General Keane, thank you for joining us. We appreciate it.
Good talking to you, Elizabeth.